The hustle and bustle of life in television. So busy I don't even have time to leave my desk. So, from high above Times Square, we are bringing you yet another exciting look at what's happening in my favorite city. Practically from my window you can see Discovery Times Square, where Harry Potter the exhibition is currently housed. I was amazed and thrilled by what I saw there, and Carl, one of the folks responsible for this show, gave us a few insights into it before we had a wander around. So take a look. Okay, I ask you, who among us doesn't love Harry Potter? It is the quintessential story of an outsider who finds his community and ultimately finds his power. This has huge resonance, particularly among our community. Today I'm at the Discovery Times Square at the Harry Potter the exhibit, and with me is the marketing director, Carl. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name.
Cricco.
Carl Cricco.
Carl Cricco.
And we are going to talk a little bit about Harry Potter the exhibition, and he's been so kind enough to let us shoot in here, and I can't wait to take a look at it. So let's get to it. So tell me exactly where we are right now.
Well, we're in the herbology class, which is well known from the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The mandrakes are a screaming plant that is in an iconic scene within that film. As you walk through this exhibition, you get to experience many iconic moments from the epic film series, and that's what we like to do. We like to bring customers into this world, into this fantastic, exciting world that is Harry Potter.
So here we are, Discovery. Now, did you work with Warner Brothers, and who was sort of instrumental in putting this exhibition together?
GES is a company that we partnered with to bring this exhibition to Discovery Times Square. They work directly with Warner Brothers, and they have created a wonderful exhibition, which we are excited to house for the second time.
And how difficult was it to put something this big together?
Well, it's a Herculean task, and we like to get these exhibitions up as quickly as possible. So a lot of people, a lot of hard work, a lot of 24-hour days brought this to life.
And I know that, people are very, very proprietary around all things Harry Potter on many levels. Was J.K. Rowling involved in it at all? Did she have some input? Who really was the person who was sort of saying yes, no, making sure everything was perfect?
Warner Brothers and ultimately J.K. But Warner Brothers is definitely intimately involved with every decision made from a production level to a marketing level.
One of the things that, for me was like, I've seen the movies and I've read the books, but just seeing the little pieces was so exciting. I mean, do you find that their sort of enthusiasm for Harry Potter is sort of renewed by the exhibition?
Absolutely. And what we find with the release of the last film last summer, we give you one of the last Harry Potter experiences outside of home entertainment and some theme parks around the country. So if you really want to get out of your house and live in this world, here it is.
Well, that's one of the things that I found so amazing, is that it felt almost like a theme park. I felt like at certain points, it did feel sort of like, the haunted house at Disneyland,
sure,
or something at Universal Studios. And yeah, it does have a very experiential feel to it. When people come here, there are things that you were like, absolutely do not miss this particular section.
When you walk into Harry Potter, the exhibition, we want to immerse you completely in this world. So, the first step is getting sorted, as all kids do when they get to Hogwarts. The sorting hat dictates what house you're in while you stay at Hogwarts. So you're taking customers on the same adventure, the same story that Harry Potter went on as he was introduced to Hogwarts. Then you're introduced to the train, which is how he got to Hogwarts. And the train is an epic part of the experience. It is to scale. There is fake snow falling in commemoration of the holiday season, really immersing you in this world and taking you out of the New York City hustle and bustle.
You talk about like the experience starting with Harry,
yep,
and where does it sort of wind through, and where do we end up?
Well, you end up in the Great Hall, which is an iconic room in Hogwarts where many of the scenes were filmed. And in commemoration of that area, there are artifacts that are relevant to that space that are relevant to many of the films. And special to this incarnation of Harry Potter, the exhibition, separate from when it was here in the summer of 2011, we have the addition of a number of artifacts that weren't on display previously. We have the complete collection of Horcruxes, which weren't on display in 2011, as well as a new display around the Battle for Hogwarts from the Epic series finale.
We know that this is a relatively temporary exhibition here at Discovery Times Square. Are there plans for it to tour around the country or around the world after this?
Those plans are TBD. We are ending this exhibition run on April 7th. That is the last day of the exhibit's run here. After this, I'm not quite sure where it's going to end up.
And again, if I'm a customer and I'm walking in, one, how much time should I really plan on for my trip to the exhibition? And if there's one thing that you have to say, like, don't miss this, what would it be?
I would plan for an hour, hour 15 if you're a Harry Potter nut, hour and a half if you're a Harry Potter fanatic.
Who's not?
In terms of what not to miss, you know, I hate to say it, but I think that it's all so well crafted and all so well done that there's so many pieces that are really going to hit people in the right way. I think the introduction is probably, you know, one of my favorite rooms. The train room is definitely one of my favorite rooms. But like I said, and the Great Hall is definitely something that is awe-inspiring and it really brings you to Hogwarts. But the overall experience can't be missed.
And sort of on a slightly different note, like, can you tell us a little bit about Discovery Times Square? Now, they have exhibits like Harry Potter. There's also a spy exhibit here as well. I mean, I'm relatively new to Discovery Times Square, so tell us a little bit about that as a sort of overall entity.
Yeah, well, this venue was founded in 2009. It is a museum complex that is housed in the old New York Times print press. So where you're standing now is where the newspapers were printed for the New York Times. Hence Times Square, which I didn't know until actually working in this space. But we have rotating exhibits. I would say the average length is about 6 months. There's 2 exhibition spaces, tons of space, about 30,000 square feet in total, 15,000 per exhibit. You know, this summer we have a couple new exhibitions that we're really excited about. Happy to tell folks about it once it gets a little more real. But we are constantly introducing new iconic properties and new ways for consumers to experience the brands that they really love.
Well, hopefully you'll ask us back to some of the new exhibits because, like I said, I'm new to Discovery Times Square. I love what I've seen so far. Congratulations on a beautiful exhibition. And if you want more information about tickets or anything here at Discovery Times Square, you can go to discoveryts.com for information and tickets. And come on down and see this before April 7th, before it goes away, because I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you very much.
It was really fun, and it made me remember just how much I love Harry Potter. Next up is a special piece on one of my favorite organizations. You've heard me talk about them before, Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. They do such amazing work and have events all year round, but one of my favorites is called Broadway Backwards. And we sat down at the Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS office with the man himself, Bob Bartley, to hear all about this year's amazing event. If you don't know already by now, Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS is one of the most extraordinary companies in the world. And one of my favorite events is called Broadway Backwards. They have so many events throughout the year, but this is one of my all-time favorites. I'm sort of new to the Broadway Backwards event. So with me today is director, choreographer, and Broadway Backwards creator, Bob Bartley. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you for
Thanks
that
so
lovely,
much.
lovely introduction.
Like I said, I'm a huge fan.
Well,
and if anybody who's watching this segment knows already that I have a love affair with Broadway Cares. So Broadway Backwards is so interesting. So how did it actually come about? Tell us a little bit about what it is and how it came about.
Well, basically, it's all the Broadway Cares events are remarkable. And they're all very different, which is wonderful. It gives an assortment to all the theater goers. And Broadway Backwards is, on the outside, it appears to be, the backwards part of it is an evening of men singing women's songs and women singing men's songs. Broadway stars, movie stars, television stars, all singing songs that are normally made famous by the opposite gender. But it's actually much more than that. It's an event that we created, my partner Danny Whitman and I created, to give the LGBT community something that they could call their own. And my issue had always been that there wasn't enough gay content in musical theater. I mean, Ironically, we are the actors in it, we are the writers of it, we are the supporters of it, and yet we go to the theater and we don't see ourselves represented. I mean, of course, there's La Cage and all the beautiful shows that have happened over the years, but I was personally tired, and this goes into all mediums, which is why I think your channel is so important. It's important for us, and people that aren't in New York and LA and the big, metropolises, to be able to see themselves represented. A kid turning on the television in Podunk, wherever, getting to go, oh, I'm not alone, is important. For me, I was tired of going to the movies and having to pretend that I was Jennifer Aniston falling in love with Paul Rudd. I was like, why can't I just fall in love with Paul Rudd? And that's where the idea came about. The first year we did it literally down at the LGBT Community Center with folding chairs and tin can lights, and begging, borrowing, and stealing all the friends that I had worked with as actors, saying, please, we need a star, would you do this favor? What we discovered that year was that the lyric of the song completely reinvents itself in the show. The very first year we had Matt Cavanaugh, who was the lead in Urban Cowboy. I'm sure you've seen the shirtless posters.
Oh, yes. Oh, I've seen him.
And Cheyenne Jackson. We had them sing, had them sing We Kiss in the Shadow from The King and I. And the song took on a brand new meaning of two leading men that have to live in the closet and desperately want to be together, and so they're kissing in the shadow. And the audience went berserk for it, and we thought, we have something special here.
So you mentioned a little bit that the event started down at the center on 13th Street. So
yes.
Is there still a connection to the center with the event?
The event benefits both the LGBT Community Center of New York on 13th and Broadway Cares. Broadway Cares helps us produce the event, and then we share the money with the center.
Okay, can I just say one thing about the center?
Yes,
this
you
is
can say many things about the center.
I'm pulling my soapbox out a little bit because I have to say the Gay and Lesbian Center in New York City on 13th Street is one of the best kept secrets of New York, and it should not be a secret at all.
Yeah. They have cultural programming, they have senior programming, they have HIV counseling and support. There is so much that the center does that is more than just a place to hang out.
It is amazing, and it's really, what a beautiful sort of coming together of two great organizations.
And they're renovating right now. They're going to be even bigger and better.
Wow. So go to the center. And is it sort of like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Like you gear up to this event, the event is over, and then the next day you start all over for the next year? Or how long does it take you in sort of months to prepare for it?
Well, we don't have any large floats, but
I'm gonna get those for you.
Would you?
Yeah.
I would love that, actually. Like the Lion King, just float them in over the audience. We take a couple of days off to sleep, and then we have a post-mortem where we all discuss what we thought worked and what could use improvement for next year, so we can keep making the show better and better.
As I mentioned in my intro, Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS does like a number of events throughout the years. Each one is just, one is more amazing than the next, and each year they just keep topping themselves. But like you had even said, they're very, very different. They each sort of have their own personality. Obviously, Broadway Bears is sort of like the dirty, slutty sibling, and how would you describe Broadway Backwards? Like, where does it fit in?
Not to say it's completely opposite from Broadway Bears, because it's more than dirty and slutty. It's also phenomenal dancing.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm just saying,
it can be. It's like, depends on your frame of mind, I guess. Broadway Backwards is, if I would describe it, it's classy, it's funny, it's emotional, and it's relevant.
Having worked with many nonprofit organizations, the overriding sentiment towards Broadway Cares is just overwhelmingly positive and goodwill. And thank you for sitting down and chatting with me.
My pleasure.
And if you are not on intimate terms with Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS yet, please get on intimate terms with them and come out and see Broadway Backwards at the Palace Theater on Monday, March 18th at 8 p.m. For tickets and information, you can go to broadwaycares.org. And thanks again. And I can't wait to see you there.
I look forward to it.
Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS is nothing short of astonishing. And if you have not seen the documentary, Heart of Broadway, about Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, right here on Here TV, keep your eye open for it because it will be playing again soon. Now, I get ribbed all the time for my style, or lack thereof. And believe it or not, there was a time in my life where I was very much into fashion. Not sure exactly what happened. Anyway, we take a visit to a new shop called Fine and Dandy, accessories for dapper guys, and that is exactly what it is. It is a store filled to the brim with wonderful items that will certainly add style and panache to any man's wardrobe, even mine. Okay, so today I'm in the heart of Midtown at a new store called Fine and Dandy, accessories for dapper guys. With me are the owners of this fantastic new store, Enrique and Matt, and they're going to tell us why we sort of drab men who don't know how to dress should be more thoughtful around what we wear, and how hopefully they can share some tips with us on how to spruce up our wardrobes. Thanks, gentlemen, for sitting and chatting with me today and letting us come into your beautiful store. So first of all, tell us how all of this came about, because it is a very specific style in terms of men's fashion, and where did it start, and how did you end up with this beautiful store?
We've always sort of loved to dress up. As long as we've been together, we've always dressed well. And we always kind of had this fantasy of opening up a shop together, and launched an online shop 4 years ago, which went really, really well. We started doing pop-up shops 2 years ago, and they were very well received. So as that kind of progressed over the years, the last 2 years, we decided it was time to open up a real brick and mortar.
And what about the specific style of Fine and Dandy? I mean, it is very specific and sort of fits into a particular place in men's fashion, and particularly accessories. Was that something that you have always sort of been drawn to?
Yeah, I think we can say for the both of us, yes. We love collecting. From our travels, we love collecting old photographs of men. So definitely, we love the idea of old, but at the same time, making it new again. The idea of the modern and the vintage.
And as I looked around the store, I was sort of poking at things, and Matt, I said, oh, are these old or new? You said everything is new. It just sort of has a vintage feel.
Exactly. We like to say everything is dandy inspired or retro inspired. But everything we sell is new. Most of it is our own brand, our own designs, and wherever we can, and a lot of it's made here, right in New York City.
I've become obsessed with Bill Cunningham.
And so have we.
And I saw the documentary, Bill Cunningham's New York, and now I can never walk down the street again the same way, because now I'm like, oh look, red, 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 red. Right. Oh, all the men in the black tights, black tights, black tights. It's like, and so now I've watched what he sort of is seeing on the streets, and I was wondering if you see oh, yeah, this is this style is either having a comeback, or you're seeing more people, because I see more people wearing bow ties. And
certainly bow ties is. Definitely. I mean, we always talk that we're always wearing bow ties whenever we were out. We'd get a lot of attention about that, and these days, people don't look twice. It's just not a big deal. Whereas when we travel and out of the city, it's the same reaction we had 4 years ago. But it just in general, I think guys dressing up more is happening.
Yeah.
Especially young guys.
I think it's happening also on TV, right? I mean, with all those shows like Downton Abbey, Boardwalk Empire, Mad Men. We definitely see a surge of sales with our tie bars, per se, even spats. I mean, this year was all about the spats.
Oh, interesting.
Surprisingly,
spats.
Yeah.
Who knew?
It's very cool that having the shop. We teach guys how to tie bow ties all the time, right. and we did this little thing where we said for the holiday season, buy a bow tie as a gift, and we'll give you a little certificate where you can give to the recipient
a lesson.
A lesson.
Oh, a lesson. I love that. You guys should do a bow tie video.
We need to do a video. We need to do a video.
When you look at sort of modern day guys dressing up, what would your advice be to the easiest way for guys to sort of just spruce up, their sort of dress? I mean, look, this is my uniform.
Well, first let me say, and I'll let you jump in after that. One thing we just say is guys just need to take the time to put themselves together. So if that's your uniform, that's awesome. But really think about what goes well with, what sweater goes well with what shirt, kind of take the time to put yourself together each morning.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as little as you know, a pair of socks, or the kind of shoe, or just how everything flows from one piece to the next. But little pops of color, anywhere from a cufflink to a sock to even a pocket square. If you don't like any neckwear, you can just wear a blazer and a pocket square. So something very easy.
And don't be afraid of pattern mixing. I mean, people have always assumed that you can't mix patterns, and we love to mix patterns.
Well, full disclosure that Matt and Enrique are my neighbors. Literally, we live wall to wall. I never hear them. They're the quietest people in the world. But I will be knocking on their door in the morning now. Be like, what about this one? And they're gonna be like, no, Queen, not that. I said almost anything. Okay, so as we look around the store, I mean, you've got all sorts of things. You've got books, you've got ties, you've got cufflinks, you've got banks. What are some of the things that you would recommend to people coming into the store? Like,
Well, I don't think we don't push people towards anything. We really try to hear where they're going, and then what they're looking for. We try to help them. But it's not like someone will walk into the store and we'd say,
you need a bow tie.
Right.
that's not quite us.
Although sometimes they come in specifically for an item because they've seen it online or have heard about specific things.
But when people are shopping for other people, then we try to steer them in different directions.
And what are some of the most popular items in the store, would you say?
Well, one of the
really
kind
hard.
of funny things is sock garters, which
Yeah.
we've been
Sock garters.
Sock garters,
Yes.
which we've sort of over the years been sort of mystified why sock garters sell so well, because it's sort of a weird, thing. And we still don't really know, although we think that possibly it's a fetish thing for some.
Yeah.
Sock garters, huh?
Sock garters, bow ties do very well for us. So it varies based on what's happening in the world. And it's weird to sort of see the mini trends, the week where color bars are huge, So it varies based on, what's happening in the world.
And who, as you sort of put the whole concept of the store together and the line, who is the sort of fine and dandy man?
The range of our customers is quite.
Yeah, it's a broad spectrum. And a story to illustrate that is that a couple of weeks ago, this maybe 60-year-old guy came in and kind of looked around, and he said, I've been waiting 30 years for you to open since this shop closed, which I wish I had heard specifically what the shop was, and was so excited, and we had a really nice talk, and he was so sweet, and he bought a couple things and was going to come back, and it was so great. The next day, this very goth straight couple came in, and they were kind of looking around, and the girl turned to the guy and said, "Finally, honey, you found your store." So that range, I think, says it all.
That's amazing. What is the customer experience that is sort of setting Fine and Dandy apart?
Well, I think it's the fact that we're so small is what makes it different. I mean, the fact that you're walking into the shop and one of the shop owners is going to help you all the way through the process that's special. I mean, in this day and age of big box stores, I think people are really, really responding to that experience, and it's exciting for us to see how they react to that.
So basically, anybody who comes in, one of the two of you are going to be here for the most part.
We're always here.
So you can come and see either Matt or Enrique. The store is Fine and Dandy, located at 445 West 49th between 9th and 10th in the heart of Hell's Kitchen. And congratulations, gentlemen. It's so beautiful. And seriously, you've got to come down and see it for yourselves. You won't believe it. So keep in mind, when you go to Fine and Dandy, either Matt or Enrique will be there to help you out and help you find exactly what is right for you. It's a one-of-a-kind experience for sure. So that about does it for today. For me, it's back to the old grind. But remember, I love to hear from you. So if you want to write to me or ask me any questions or comment on anything you've seen, you can always reach me at justjosh@heretv.com. That's justjosh@heretv.com. And as always, I will see you again soon. Bye.